Everyone. Today, I'm just thrilled to be here. Today, we'll be exploring AI and how it is revolutionizing the nonprofit sector, especially in the area of fundraising. And just a little bit about me. I've been in the business in the nonprofit sector for quite some time. Done a lot of consulting around the marketplace, and just very passionate about technology. And I've been playing in this world pretty heavily. I'm currently a trustee of Emerson College and heavily involved with Rotary International. I'll be district governor of Southern Connecticut starting in July for the next 24-25 Rotary year, and just a lot of work involved in what I'm doing. So I'm in your shoes. I'm doing a lot of work around finding ways technology can really manage the world. Before I jump in, I do want to tell you a very, very brief picture about my company that I'm working with, which is Event Groove. Event Groove is a platform that provides integrated solutions for events, fundraising, and e-commerce product activities. You can see the platform encompasses all three of these areas. It's quite robust. We have a very, very strong fundraising angle to it, providing lots of capacity for fundraising components that all connect to building and increasing capacity and impact for your organizations. It is a storytelling platform, which is really powerful. So it's something you ought to hopefully take a look at. And it's just a matter of just trying to find ways to do a better job at what we do in the nonprofit areas in terms of raising funds. This is not meant to be your CRM. We're not interested in taking that over. We're really interested in being an adjunct and being an added sidebar to your business operation to make sure that you improve and do what you do. We're all about success. We're all about high customer service. So that's all I'll say for right now. I want to jump into our story for AI for nonprofits, transforming fundraising for the digital age, in the digital age. Let's go ahead and start with this.
The amount of change we're going to see over the next 5 years, 10 years will dwarf everything that's happened over the last 30. We went from automating pen and paper, right, with spreadsheets, to connecting PCs into local area networks, to connecting networks to get the internet, to getting the network effect of communicating people globally. But now we're introducing artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, etc. So, and what that enables is the automation of automation, right? And so the people who were writing software, particularly at the lower end, unless you're doing these advanced things, they're gone. Okay, so when I was writing code, it was the algorithms were if this then that, right? XOR, whatever it may be, right? But you had to guess, right? You had to use your best instance. And then it got smarter and smarter and smarter, and libraries to do bigger and better things. All that is being automated. And so now you have to know how to use that stuff. So either software works for you or you work for software, and once the software takes over, you're gone, right? I personally think there's going to be a greater demand in 10 years for liberal arts majors than there were for programming majors, and maybe even engineering, because when the data is all being spit out for you, options are being spit out for you, you need a different perspective in order to have a different view of the data. And so having somebody who's more of a freer thinker, and because if automation is being automated, you just learn the tax rules. You just feed the automation the tax rules, and it does the rest for you.
So English majors in the world should celebrate?
I think English, philosophy, foreign language majors, maybe not now, they're going to starve for a while.
I love this. So now we set the context for our conversation, because I'm really taken by Mark Cuban's comment that the future jobs that will propel powerfully forward are not engineering and programming, which is where they are today, but that the liberal arts and creative services, the world that we all live in, these will be the demand jobs, because it's all about exploring and driving the creative output from the platform. So I wanted to kind of underscore that up front. I've delivered a lot of these presentations over several times over the past year, and each time this conversation is different. And why? Because AI is growing faster than the speed of change. I mean, first you had ChatGPT 3, still the free version, and now we have 4.0, and then that was released last year, last summer, I think. And then now this summer we're getting ChatGPT 5, and Sam Altman, who's the founder of OpenAI, people thought 3.0 was, quote unquote, from his vantage point, amazing, a marvel of technology. And now with 4.0, looking back, 3.0 is unimaginably horrible, according to Sam Altman. I mean, that's what he says. But he expects that the delta between 5 and 4 will be the same as between 4 and 3. So listen, again, technology is driving forward faster than the speed of change. And here's the other thing. As leaders, according to Mark Cuban, if you are a CEO, you have to understand it because it will have a significant impact on every single thing you do. And as leaders in the nonprofit sector, we need to be focused on recalibrating our management teams around AI-driven technology that can produce results that hit the bottom line of our organization. So that's really, really important kind of to say up front in this conversation. According to the Independent Sector, which is a nonprofit organization that advocates for the nonprofit industry, we saw in 2022 a decrease of number of donors by about 10%. We're waiting for the 2023 numbers now. Retention and fatigue. Charitable organizations across the country, across the globe, reported significant difficulties retaining staff and filling vacancies. So what you see on the screen is a word cloud conversation. If you wouldn't mind picking up your smartphones that you have in your hands. If you're on your phone looking at this, you can go to slido.com and put in that code 2827745 and just drop down what are the most pressing issues your organization is currently facing in the nonprofit sector. I'd love, because this will tell us a lot about what's really going on for us in this circle. And funding, yeah, fundraising, new donors, strategic planning, big stuff. Funding being the core thing, fundraising. See if anything pops up as you keep throwing this stuff in. New donors, donor fatigue is now popping up as a focused thing. I agree with that. Staffing, yeah. This is pretty amazing. All of these different, board engagement. I see that is very, very big. I'm on a big board. We're going through a lot of board changes now. Staff retention, stable donations, sustainable giving. That's huge. New donors is now cropping up. Volunteer recruitment. I love it. Burnout. Absolutely. So what we're all looking at, keep going. There's 14 more people typing away, and you can use this a couple of times before we move on. But what you're seeing is kind of an amalgamation of kind of what the challenges are that we're facing. And, these are challenging times, let's just face it. And we need to be thinking about how we can leverage these issues that we're having using technology. And so now as we pare down to the end of this, you can see that retention, new donors, capacity building, fundraising, funding, it's all about fundraising, right? So let's leave it at that. So thank you for participating in this. This will be in the recording. It'll be fun for you all to watch again. I just want to jump off to the next slide and just go through the agenda that I'm going to be hitting today. So obviously we started the intro to AI and ChatGPT. We're going to be talking about fundraising and AI tools and techniques that you can use and examples of real-time use scenarios. That's where it's going to get fun. We're going to dive in to really do some real-time things. But before I do, I'd like to leave some things out there that will allow you to do that. But I want to get an understanding of where this group is. Again, one more time in this Slido role, tell me where you are. How would you describe your current level of engagement with AI technologies in your nonprofit work? Are you a power user? Are you a casual user? Are you experienced user, newcomer, or you do not use? Are you skeptical of this whole process? So let me know where you sit. So casual users, just learning, newcomer. So go ahead and just throw in your ideas here. Newcomer, casual. So really what's interesting to me is that most of you seem to be in that new mode. I don't see any power users. It may be a small, but the big one is newcomer. 37% casual user, 33% experienced. We got some experienced users. We got 7% have reservations and ethical concerns. We'll hit those. We're going to hit those. Power users, you got a small amount. So for the power users and the experienced users, I'm going to hit some things that you may know. I know you probably knew that coming in, but for you casual new users and newcomers, this is where I literally say the wow factor will come into play, because it's pretty crazy about what you can do here. And I'm only hitting the fundraising side of things, and we're going to be really specific. But AI can do some amazing things. I was talking to Heather before we got on, and the kind of things that you can do related to video and programming and coding are just enormously crazy. And that's where this is really coming to play. So let's proceed on, but this gives us a good sense of where this circle is. So I do want to share with you a tidbit, because I always like to weave some things out there that the system can do that's out there and to help you. So I want to go to this one here, which is what AI can do today. This is a new, oops, I want to go back. Hold on a second. I want to go back. This is a new thing, and let's just go to it. Oops. I'll bring it over here. So this is what it looks like. You should be able to see my screen here. This is the website that you'll go to. Actually, you know what? I have it better somewhere else. Let me move this back where it was, and I'm going to just flip my screen. Maybe that's the way to do it. I'll just flip my screen to this. There we go. So what can you do today for AI? So this is a crazy. So I can literally search on what I want to do, and it will find the AI tools. Like if I want to do a press release, press, and just hit search for AI, and it will find all the tools that will do press releases for me. Obviously, write press releases, PressMonkey. I mean, there's so many tools in the marketplace. It also has a place for top AI tools. It'll give you the top 500 AI tools, and it will rank them. And you literally click on them and play with them. So this is really a tool for you. I urge you to go ahead. I'm going to come back to the screen and go ahead and bookmark this. This is really one of those little tidbits I'm going to throw out to you during the course of the conversation today. The next one I want to go to is just take a moment. What is ChatGPT? What is GPT? What is generative pre-trained transformers? It's a neural network model that uses transformer architecture to reason, learn, and act autonomously. I mean, basically, what's great about this platform is it literally learns as you go. So as I've been using it in my work with it, it knows who I am. It understands what I'm doing. When we get to ChatGPT-5, it's going to explode even more. That's why Sam Altman made that scenario. But it's a broad field of computer science that deals with the creation of intelligent agents, which are systems that can reason, learn, and these techniques, including machine learning, natural learning, processing, and data mining, it's going to extract insights from data and make predictions based on what you put in it. And that's what's so crazy about this technology, is that it's really taking our ideas and it's allowing us to learn from the information. There is a side of this, and so for you ethical users out there, that it's going to be wary, and that is because it's pulling off of data that exists in the universe, and there's a lot of disinformation out there, so you can't go verbatim. I'm a trustee at Emerson College. There's a huge conversation about AI at the university level because of ways it can be used to I suppose allow people to use it inappropriately on campus to make it allow them to reach where they need to go without the proper learning process, as it will. And also it's true in the disinformation world. We're in a political here in the United States. We're in a political arena now, and there's a lot of danger out there in terms of how information can be misleading. So these are the things. But if you use it correctly and use it from a place of ethical standard of how you're going to approach it, this platform, this tool set is just absolutely mesmerizing. So we'll dive into it, particularly in the fundraising side. So you had, ChatGPT 3.5, that's the free version that I started working with, then 4.0, and then of course 5.0 comes out in development. And then we go into this other thing I wanted to share with you. ChatGPT is just one example of a chatbot out there that's doing work, and it has limitations. There are bigger, impactful solutions out there, and I didn't want to hide them from you because I'm going to be working in ChatGPT. So let's go to this model here, and I'll jump back to my over here. These are the best chatbots. This is where you'll go when you hit that. And I'll come back to it so you can grab it. But these are the top best chat GPTs. Now they're saying there's the original is out there. This isn't ranked in any particular order. Claude, Bing. Claude has the ability to increase the capacity of learning because it will go back much farther in your dialogue inside it and allow it to grab stuff that you talked about much farther back in the iterative scope of your work so that it will grab that information and apply it to what it's doing for you now. Whereas ChatGPT has a bit more limitations there. Bing is interesting is because Bing allows you to be more current. Like ChatGPT, I believe it only starts at the end of 2023. It hasn't included 2024 in its iteration. So anything that happened this year so far, it's not going to include, whereas Bing is very current. And so these are the things that you'll get to know as you go through all of these chatbots out there, and you need to know about them. So I'm glad I'm sharing them with you, and use that for what it's worth. But I think it's important to stay on top of the chatbot community because they all do very different things in different ways. But I happen to love ChatGPT, and we're going to play in that world today. And so I do want to start by really focusing now on fundraising and AI. So let's jump into that. And so the first thing that we need to do is we need to have our strategic process for what this is about. And I think the first thing is identify your goals. So listen, we're all fundraisers, right? We all know what we need to do. The first thing is we need to set our goals. When we start out with our work in every fundraising year or in our strategic planning process, we need to set up our short and long-term goals. What do you want to achieve with AI? In particular, what do you think you want to use AI for once you know your goals? Once you have that, you can start to identify specific AI-powered tools that can help you achieve those. The next thing is assess your data. Now, data is king in my world. If you don't understand your data from anything that you're doing within your world, you're in trouble. So I think everyone on this call knows that. But AI-powered tools are only as good as the data they're trained on. So make sure that you have a good understanding of your donor data and that it's clean and organized. And if you have an issue with that, that should be tantamount number one starting point. And then the last thing here is choose the right, well, not the last thing, I think there's one more. Choose the right tools. There are a variety of AI-powered fundraising tools out there. You want to choose the tools that are really right for you, not only for what you're looking to do, but also for your budget, because AI tools are no longer free, they cost money. And so you've got to, and that's the other thing, you need to start thinking about how you build AI into your fundraising budgets when you plan. Your directors and your CEOs and your executive directors, they need to be understanding of this. And then the last thing is start small. Don't try to implement AI for everything overnight. Start by using AI to automate a few tasks to improve one aspect of your fundraising operation. Once you're comfortable with that, you can start expanding and moving on from there. So real important starting point. The other thing is benefits of AI for fundraising. The first thing is a known factor, increased efficiency. AI-powered tools will automate many of these tasks that we do in fundraising, and we're going to focus on some of these. Donor targeting. We're always looking for ways to do a better job at targeting and improving our donor reach, and AI can help nonprofits identify and target donors who are most likely to be interested in your cause, and that's important. Increased personalization. The ability to personalize your work and personalize your communications in ways that are beyond what you're doing now, very, very important. And then optimization, being able to do a better job at campaign optimization so that you're doing a better job at predicting donor behavior. So all of this plays a role. But let's go ahead and jump into some operational efficiency conversations. So these are a few ways where we can build operational efficiencies. How can AI streamline donor database management? What tools can I use to optimize email campaigns? How does AI enhance event planning and attendance forecasting? Can AI predict the most effective fundraising periods? I could read all this. I'm not going to, but I want to go ahead and begin really on the bottom here, and that is how can AI analyze the effectiveness of volunteer coordination scheduling? What tools will we need to use? And so I'm going to go off to a screen here. Ooh, my computer seems to be not working here. There we go. How do AI facilitate volunteer coordination and scheduling? And so I want to go off and let's jump into an actual Chat GPT prompt. And the prompt is going to be, what are the best volunteer management systems for nonprofits? So I'm going to go ahead and take that and let's ask the question of this. And I'm going to jump over to Chat GPT. So this is Chat, and I'm in 4.0, which is a paid version of Chat GPT. And I'm going to put this in. What are the best volunteer management systems for nonprofits? I'm going to click that in, and it's going to go ahead and it's going to go out and do its thing. And for those of you who used it, it's what's great about this is if you're doing any sort of research, this is great for research. If it's slow, I've pre-done this so I can pull it up quickly. But because sometimes there it goes, selecting the best volunteer management. So it's now building and doing what it needs to do, and it's not listing these in any particular order. Volunteer Hub is the comprehensive solution that offers yada yada. It's going to go on and start listing all these. Golden Volunteer. Some of these you may or may not have heard of. I assume we're all using some sort of volunteer management platform to do the volunteer work that we do. It's going to list out about 10 of them. I haven't seen one that I've used before here. But I'm going to jump back because it's going to continue listing. And while it does that, I want to jump back to our PowerPoint. And I'm going to just go ahead and once again hit this and say, let's add another angle to this prompt. Can you take the above list and rank them by cost and function, adding a rating to compare the list to each other? So I'm going to go ahead and grab that comment and I'm going to put it into the prompt. We'll go back to the prompt and see what it said. And so it's still working. So I volunteer. Volgistics, that's the one I knew about. Give effect, I didn't know that one. Mobilize, and it's finishing up. So I'm going to put the next prompt in here, and I'll go ahead and sit it there. So it's done listing these out. Now I'm going to say, can you take the above, list and rank them by cost and function, adding a rating to compare the list to each other. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Once this is done, I go ahead and hit return, and now it's doing this next prompt. And the key is that I'm going to just go ahead and jump to, because it's going to take a while to do that. I'm going to jump to this prompt that I did. So here's what it did. This is a different grouping that you got here. It's pulling it out in a different order. Then it ranked them. So it made I volunteer first, mobilize second, boardable third, volunteer local fourth, golden volunteer, et cetera, et cetera. And then at the bottom, I asked the last prompt, of these, pick your top 3 and rank them in a matrix based on price, use and function, and impact. And it went ahead and created this ranking system, price and affordability and value. It's ranking it by a number scenario, use and function ranked, and then impact, and it puts I volunteer at the top. Now, I don't know I volunteer, but if I were in a research mode, this would get me started, and it gives me the ability to do that. So what's interesting about all this is that when you go into a research mode, it gives you the ability to do something that you may have not been able to do before, and that's important. So that's the first iteration that I wanted to look at. So this is a research-based scenario. Let's go on to another kind of scenario, and that is real-time AI fundraising scenarios. So we're going to get now a little deeper into this process. How can AI tools automate financial reporting? What AI solutions can help analyze feedback from beneficiaries? On and on in these ideas. The one I'm going to focus on is the bottom one. It's how does AI enhance content creation for nonprofit cause-based marketing? This is one that's real important because we have to communicate to the world. We need to let the world know what our nonprofit is doing. And so I want to go back to the AI Chat GPT that we were looking at, and let's throw in another prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a new Chat GPT area, and I'm going to open my sheet here, and I'm going to put in a prompt. Let's go back to here, and let's go ahead and go to the next page. And let's look at what this prompt is going to say. This prompt basically says, how does AI enhance content creation for nonprofit cause-based marketing? And here's the prompt. You are the marketing director for Rotary Southern Connecticut. I'm a Rotarian, so this is my Rotary district, so I'm using something that affects me personally. And we're doing a meal packing project and working with the outreach program. I give it the URL for that program, where we will pack 100,000 meals to be delivered to Jeremy Haiti in support of food insecurity. Write a press release and a media alert that describes the project and craft the first draft quote from the district governor outlining the power and impact that this district is doing in support of Haiti, and do the same for the director of the outreach program, noting scope to properly tell the Rotary story to the region. Now, this is all about telling our story. One of the most important things we do in fundraising is telling and elevating and illuminating our stories. So let's go ahead and grab this prompt that I'm just pulling right now. Let's go to the back end, which is right here, and let's put it in. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it in there, and now I'm going to go ahead and hit return. And so now, once again, it's going to start building the story. Now, I've got this pre-set up, but there it goes. It's right in the press release right now. And what's great about this, and I was talking to Heather beforehand, Heather was saying, I like writing on my own. I don't like having it do the stuff for me, and I totally get that. But when you're in a busy environment, and sometimes, how many of you, and you're not going to respond to this, but how many of you have gotten writer's block? You've gotten to the standpoint, well, I'm trying to write, I'm tired, it's been a long day, but I got to get this done for tomorrow. I'm on deadline. This is a great way to start the conversation. And you can see what it's doing. It's writing my quote right now for the power of Rotary lies in collective act. So it's creating all of these potential scenarios for us and getting it. So now, while it's doing that, I'm going to go to the one I actually created, and I'll go to the top. So this is the press release that it wrote. Rotary Southern Connecticut has taken a monumental step in the fight against global hunger by partnering with the outreach program to organize a meal of packing. This joint venture will see 100,000 meals packed and delivered, addressing the critical issue of food insecurity in the region. It goes on telling about Rotary, the outreach program, does a media alert, when, where, how, whatever. It goes into that sort of thing, and then does a continuation. I did say rewrite and craft the quote in the press release for the district governor, extolling the power and impact that this service will provide Haiti, and expand on the quote from the outreach program. And then it just did that. So the wonderful thing you need to know about ChatGPT or any of the bots is that you just need to tell it what you want it to do, and it will do it. It doesn't have emotion. It doesn't have anything. It's going to do what you say it to do. So that's pretty cool. So I just thought I'd share that. I want to go on to the next one. So let's go back to this prompt here. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one is real-time AI fundraising scenarios. Well, here's one. The Las Vegas Philharmonic is heading into the fourth quarter of the year and wishes to expedite the delivery of an end-of-year board gift expedite the delivery of their end-of-year board gifts to their operation to mitigate any cash flow items that might occur as they transition into the new year. We all know that the end of year is a tough time, and that's really when we get gifts in from outside. But board giving is important. So what's the prompt that we're going to use? Now, the word perfect is something that I use because it's from an app called Prompt Perfect, which if you put perfect before your prompt, it will improve your prompt automatically. Because we're not perfectionists at this, and you don't have to be a perfectionist. You just have to write what you want to find. So by doing this, I'm going to go ahead and grab this prompt in my listing here on the side. I'm copying and pasting from a Word document, so I don't have to retype it, right? So I'm going back over here to the back end, and once again, we'll go over here to a new ChatGPT area. I'll put this in, and now I'll go ahead and I'll put this in, and now it's going to create an email from me that I would hope would come from the executive office to the esteemed board members. And so you can see what it's writing. Your support can make a difference. Early annual gift contribution. As we approach another exciting year of unparalleled musical performances and community engagement, I'm reaching out to share an opportunity that will resonate with every heart of our mission at the Las Vegas Philharmonic. We are currently experiencing a delicate moment financially. And so just take a moment and read this. I'll just be quiet for a moment, let you all take a quick review. And so what it's doing is it's asking for the early gift. Now, I did this earlier, and I want to share it with you because I did something interesting. Because you could go back to this and say, it's too long, it's too wordy, it's too whatever, make it concise. You could even go back and when you're doing your marketing or your fundraising cause-based marketing and say, put this in the voice of a fifth grader. And smarter than a fifth grader, right? Sometimes you want to dumb language down so that it's very, very usable. So I'm going to go back to this, and this is what I used back at. I'll share this with you. I went to the wrong one. Board gift. So I hope this message finds you well as we continue to foster growth outreach. It started using at the beginning musical verbiage. Like as we approach the vibrant crescendo of our musical season, it's the Las Vegas Philharmonic, right? I'd like to extend our unwavering commitment and support to Philharmonic. It just started using a lot of, our scales of cash flow, and I thought that was too much. So I wrote, remove the musical references and decrease the urgency while reinforcing the importance of the need. And then it rewrote this, and it was much better. And so again, it's just a small example of the power of just being specific. You're in a conversation with this platform. It's not, you can get very creative in the way that you dialogue back and forth with it. So that's a great example. The next one is geared towards Giving Tuesday. So here's a scenario. Giving Tuesday is coming up at the end of November, and the Greater Boston Food Bank wants to leverage this connection with the communities it serves by making an ask to support the institution for this international giving event. And so the prompt is there. Let's try this one. Actually, I'm not even going to put in. I'll take you the one that I created and I'll walk you through it because it's really, really interesting. The prompt is perfect. Create a Giving Tuesday digital marketing campaign for Greater Boston Food Bank that focuses on social platforms and direct email, and identify the key support messages and visual images. That's really interesting. That would make this powerful and provide possible campaign themes. So it's asking for both visual images and campaign things. And then I had a follow-up prompt, which we'll get to. So let me jump back over here to my back end, and I'm going to go into my digital Giving Tuesday campaign. Now, there's the prompt, and it came up with these key support messages, local, key support messages. It's building the plan, right? The campaign, and it's every dollar counts. So local impact, every dollar counts, stories of hope, unity and giving, transparency and trust. These are campaign theme ideas. Then visual images, photo collages, infographics, before, after imagery, icons, and graphics. So it's giving you all that, and then possible campaign themes. Feed the change on Giving Tuesday. Boston's Table for All. Giving Warmth, Give Hope. Give Warmth, Give Hope. Harvest of Generosity. This all happened, and then it kicked me out an image. Now, I didn't love the image, but it did. I didn't give it any details. So it says, here's digital artwork designed for Giving Tuesday campaign. It features a diverse group of individuals gathered at a community table. I then said, redo the digital artwork and make it real life as opposed to artwork. Let us use the food insecurity on the faces of those in need. And then it gave me this. And I thought it was okay, but still, I said, how about redo of the image focusing on a family in their home challenged with food? And so then it gave me this. But then it put all this food on the table. And then I said, and then I went and I did something interesting. I took this and I went up here and I clicked on that. And then I literally put my cursor around this, around all the food. And then I let it recalibrate. I'm going to cancel it because I have the results here. So let me get out of it. And it then produced the same picture, but with no food in the bowls. I mean, this is crazy, right? Now, some of you use Canva. It's the same kind of thing, but it's right here inside the platform. And so what you're seeing is this illumination of capabilities that allows you to take it outside the box. And so that's a great example of how you might do that. So again, my whole goal here is to open up that wow factor. We're going to get into another one in a moment that takes it down to another level, and I think we're heading there. So yeah, this is it. So now we're going to get into some I will say some digital analysis. The Alaska Quartet, which is, by the way, I made that up. There is no Alaska Quartet. I did that on purpose. Is looking to maximize their contributed income for the year. The board has asked for an individual giving analysis to increase last year's giving for the coming season. Now, listen, having done fundraising before, as a director, I know that when you walk in to prepare for a new year, you take your annual fund donors from the current year that you're ending, and you predict what they're going to do, because you've got to set a goal in your budget for next year, and you've got to set some scenarios. So here's the prompt that I came up with. First of all, the tools I use with ChatGPT, advanced data analysis. So that's now, when I started using ChatGPT, this was an add-on. Now it's built into ChatGPT. You don't have to add it in. And then I took an Excel file called Alaska Quartet Donor Data from 2023 and used that as an attachment. And you'll see how that works. And so the prompt is, take the attached file and analyze it by donor level, and based on the giving by each donor, create an ask amount for each donor level, and then aggregate the total possible giving based on these asks. Now, I don't know about you, but when I do this manually, when I've done this manually, it takes a while. I will tell you that you'll see in a moment how this is done in literally minutes, if not less. And I'm going to flip over here to my prompt. I'm going to grab it because I want to grab it, and I can go ahead. I'm going to put it in, and then we'll go to my one that I pre-did just because of speed and time. And I'll go back over here. When I hit this ChatGPT button, it opens up a new area. I'll put this in, and I also put in the giving levels, right? So I've got the ask, and then I put in, and please use the following giving tiers as the donor levels. I click go, and now it's doing its thing. So there's an image in there, so it's reflecting on that, but it's asking for, let's see. I would like to use a spreadsheet, typically with an XLS. Could you please? Oh, I didn't put in the spreadsheet. How about that? So now I'll go ahead and put in the spreadsheet. That's what I didn't do. And let's see, where is it? Alaska. It's there it is. So there, I put in the spreadsheet. That's what it was. So it was saying it needs the data. So now the data's in there, and now see it's analyzing, and it's analyzing the data. I should have put that in at the front, and it's analyzing the data, and it's going to kick out the results. So we'll let it sit there for a moment so you can see how this pops up. There it goes. So it's telling you what it's doing. The donor data consists of following columns: first name, last name, city, state, zip, contact ID, and ask amount. To proceed with the analysis, I'll categorize each. It's telling you what it's going to do. In the appropriate giving levels, the ask amount, then I'll calculate a new ask amount for each donor. If the previous ask amount was at the lower end of the tier, the new ask amount will be moderate increase. If the previous ask amount was at the higher end of the tier, the ask amount will move up to the lower end of the next tier. So it's doing all of that. So it's giving you the mode in which it will move forward in. It's giving you the process that it's going to take. And what's great about that is because then I can go in and say, well, I'd like you to change your process that you said if the previous ask amount was lower tier, and change it to Y or X. And that way you again, it's your ability to move that information through it and in it. So now it's going through. Afterward, I'll aggregate the total possible giving based on the new ask amounts. Let's do this step by step. It's almost done. And we'll go to my preset one before that I finish to kind of go through it. But this is great for you to see kind of how it processes this up. It's almost done. And again, this is not rocket science, but I want you to think about the time it takes to do this work. And we are all about efficiencies because, let's face it, in the nonprofit world, we are lean and mean. And there's only so many hours in the day, so we have to find ways to build efficiencies. But now we're taking the analytics side and we're applying it to the efficiency side, and that is pretty powerful. And so it's finishing up, taking a few seconds. So you know what? We'll come back to it. I'll go up to my donor level analysis, and so here we are. So I'm going to go up to the top. I did put the file up top, and I asked everything. And it went ahead, and this is what it said. It says, looks like the donor contains this data. The ask amount already exists in the field. And then I've assigned donor levels based on the quartiles of the existing ask amount and suggested new ask amounts with an increased percentage as follows. Bronze increased by 10%, silver increased by 15%, gold by 20%, platinum by 25%. The total possible giving based on new ask amounts is $385,000. Would you like me to export this data with donor levels and suggest ask amounts to a new Excel file? I said yes, and it gave me the Excel file. I'm going to click on that, it's gonna, oh, it already expired. So I have the file somewhere, but we'll get it in the new version. I click on that, it automatically opens up, and then I said, please label the column as a suggested ask about scenario 1, and I asked it to create 2 other scenarios that create different modes of increase. And it went ahead and said modest increase of 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, and then ambitious increase of 15%, 20, 25, and 30. And then it gave me a chart and showed me basically this is the giving level of each scenario, and this is the percent increase. This is the percent increase on the side. Here's the total giving, and that's what I asked for. And then it gives you what the chart illuminates, and that's it. So pretty amazing stuff. Again, I'm really looking forward to hearing you when we go into questions, your reaction to all this. And so I'm going to go back to the, let's jump back to where we were, the donor analysis, and see what we ended up with. It says afterward, so it said here, afterward the aggregate, oh, it stopped analyzing. So sometimes speed of movement within ChatGPT, you have to regenerate. So, but you saw what I wanted you to see, which was over here. So let's go back to the PowerPoint, and so now you've seen certain iterations around this, and I'd like to just walk you through. These are my gifts to you in terms of some prompts that I think are very valuable, because they hit major areas in the fundraising topic. And I'm not going to go into them, but you'll have these, and I want you to play with them. Take these and just throw them into ChatGPT, throw them into Claude, throw them into Bing AI, and have fun with this information. So the next one is, what if I wanted to compile an annual fundraising campaign theme? Well, here's a prompt to do that. I'm planning the annual fundraising campaign for our nonprofit organization. You know, many times annual fundraising campaigns have a theme behind them that drive engagement. And we need to develop a compelling theme that will powerfully resonate with our supporters. Can you help me brainstorm potential themes that effectively communicate our mission, dramatically enhance donor engagement, and robust funding support? Please include ideas that can be visually and emotionally compelling, offer suggestions for slogans that can capture the essence of our cause, and propose ways these themes can be seamlessly integrated across various fundraising materials such as email, social media, and event decorations. Additionally, provide guidance on how to ensure the theme aligns with our organizational values and strongly appeals to our diverse donor base. Now, you can add more onto that, but I got very specific. So that's an example of a theme we could run. I'll do this first one just for fun, just to see where it takes us. I'll just throw it in there, and we'll just do this, and then I'll take you through the rest of them, and then we'll open up for questions. So I'm going to go back over here, open this up, and just throw this chat in here, and hit go. And so now it's going ahead, and this is the annual fundraising theme, and it's on its way. And so now it's identifying core mission and values, emotional and visual brainstorming. It's hitting all the things I asked for: development of themes and slogans, integration across materials. And so I don't know where this is going to end up, because I haven't run this recently, but the bottom line is that I can take all this and keep asking questions and probe deeper and deeper into the puzzle of this and see where it takes us. So now it's going. So it's already starting, and I didn't even ask it. Themes and slogans: uniting for change. Every hand helps. Forward together. Paving pathways to possibilities. Again, we're not going to stay on this because of time, but I wanted you just to see. You're going into a meeting tomorrow, and you've invited your team for a brainstorming session. You're going to do your own brainstorming, but maybe you want to have some ideas that are out there that could spawn other things while you're in a face-to-face brainstorming ideation session. This is what this is all about. It's about finding ways to help you get better at what you do. You don't have to use it. There's no right or wrong on it. It's a matter of how you set it. Now we're going to integration across materials, email, social, event decorations, values and alignment, diverse appeal with our donor base and our constituency, and it's giving you that. So I'm going to jump back because there's others of these that we'll hit. So that's this one. The next one, I've got a few more, and then we'll stop. Corporate sponsor campaign prompt. So here's another one. I'm tasked with designing a corporate sponsorship campaign for a nonprofit, which is focused on whatever cause or event you've got going on. Can you help me develop a comprehensive strategy? On and on and on. Take a moment to read that. Again, you're going to get a copy of this. You're going to get a copy of the recording, and you're going to be able to keep this in your fold. And I love this. The next one is monthly giving fundraising campaign prompt. I need to set up a monthly giving program for our annual fund aimed at supporting blank. Could you outline a comprehensive? Now, I love this because you can turn this into a week by week strategy. You can tie it to social media. You can tie it to emails. You can tie it to direct mail, and it literally will build every piece of this for you right on the screen. Now, listen, one of the things we know in our business is that we don't have the expertise in everything when we're sitting in here, especially if we're a one-person shop. There are lots of organizations, I'm sure, that are on this call that are extensively out there with the resources to do this on all different facets of the tangents. So what I'm suggesting here is that it can be used at every iterative place inside your operation, and it just gives you a place to go. So this is another example. Include ideas for special incentives or recognition programs. And advice on leveraging technology to streamline the donation process and improve the donor experience. There's a lot to unpack here, right? So you can take what you want with it. Next one is, let's see what it is. It's major giving campaign prompt. So again, it's a major giving prompt. Could you help me develop an effective strategy? Please include a step-by-step plan on identifying and researching potential donors, best practices for cultivating relationships with them. And listen, if you bring in your existing list of major donors, and then ask it, what are other potential donors that are nearby where these people live, and you tie that together. It's going to tell you whether it can or can't do that. But there are other tools out there that do these things. Some of you are using them. Wealth Engine is a great one, and they have AI built into it. I mean, all of the major tools that you are using, Donor Perfect, Salesforce, have AI built into them. And what's great is if you use those, you should be using those tools because they're built into your CRM. But being able to begin the process here is fantastic. The next one is peer-to-peer fundraising. Can you help me design a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign? I don't know if any of you use peer-to-peer fundraising for you distributed organizations where you have multiple entities around an operation, whether it be college campuses and classes or whatever. Peer-to-peer fundraising is a very powerful way of getting people to engage and extend out your work. So again, how do you tie it to communication and social media and promotion and increasing the ability to impact that is important. So that's another one. Another one out there is end of year giving campaign. Again, there's a prompt for end of year giving. So and again, it goes into lastly include recommendations for tracking, analyzing, and reporting on the performance of the campaign. So it's taking the full gamut. The next one is legacy giving campaign. This is a big one because many of us leave this and don't really touch it. This is for your endowment and building legacy, leave a legacy, giving a bequest, and this is real important. I'm planning a legacy, and I'm actually doing this now in my Rotary district. We are doing a campaign to bring in $5 million to the Rotary Foundation this year for our Rotary activity. This one extols a $25 million campaign over the next 12 months, but this is big stuff. What a great way to begin having the conversation, the process, and bring it to the board to begin talking about it. So again, another example. The last one, I think, is, let's see how many more we got. Oh, this is the last one, grant writing campaign. So again, I know there's been sessions in here about grant writing, but grant writing is very special and very specialized. And I will tell you that the platform will find a specific way to help you do this in a really powerful framework. So again, another tool. So I want to drop off there, and I want to talk about creating AI as a policy in your organization, because a wonderful gal named Judy Coffin, and I don't know, Judy, if you're on this call, wrote me an email before this session and asked me, I think she's from Canada, United Church of Canada, and she had a question related to the ethical use of AI in the workforce. So Judy, let's start with a bigger question about how we might regulate AI. And actually, you can't regulate AI right now in the general community. It's impossible because it's the new frontier. It's like we're back in 1994, 93, 92, or actually we're back in 1998 when you had the dot-com, before the dot-com bubble burst. That's where we are. We're in a really unique place. It's crazy. And so what I will talk to you about, Judy, is let's look at your question regarding organization policy. Here's one example from, and so I'm giving you these things here. This is a link to writer.com, and I'm giving you another AI source. It's an AI company supporting businesses on best practices in adopting AI in your daily workforce. And they share a simple 5-step framework, and I provided a link to it, and it details how to do the process. Listen, there are many ways to prepare this process, and so you need to do your research. And you could research it in ChatGPT, and it would have come up with writer.com as one of the solutions. But I thought I'd throw it at you and give you a tool right away. So here's another kind of nugget of information for you to begin working and setting organizational policy. So Judy, I hope that answers your question. I'm going to stop there. I want to open up for questions with the time. I know I went a little longer than I wanted to, but I wanted to open up a little more. I don't want to go with other prompts because we can't do. We can maybe do that in the quick Q&A that we have. I do want to suggest that from a summary standpoint, let's just quickly review. You want to start initiating AI into your nonprofit. That's number one. You want to identify where to use AI to help facilitate efficiencies, result in time savings. Identify your goals. Make sure you know what they are and how you want to use AI, how you think you want to use AI to do it. Assess your data and identify how your CRM can support your AI strategy. Identify the tools you want to use within your development efforts by starting small and working up. Setting best practices on connecting your data and identifying the AI prompts that will drive value. Engage AI as a conversation in your weekly staff sessions. Make this a part of your DNA. Bring this to your team and let it be a conversation. Be careful, be sure to proof and recraft your AI content because you can't take it verbatim, and then track the efficiency and share it with your board. And with that, I will end by saying if anybody's interested in a follow-up session with me, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. You can go to my calendar from here. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to conversation. I'm going to jump over. I'll just leave it there. So Heather, we can open up the
Yeah, yeah, I've got a lot of questions here brewed up, so I'm in no hurry if you're able to stay a couple extra minutes too.
I'm in no hurry. Let's do it.
All right. So there's a couple questions that came up. One I was really curious about was, do you know if like ads that are in Google or Copilot or anywhere? I know that ChatGPT also scraped YouTube. Is so when you did the search about what's a good volunteer platform, and you pointed out that Give Effect came up, do you know if that's just based on organic search results that when they scraped Google, or was it actually due to ads? Like, do you know
I
if
don't
they
know the answer.
scraped?
I don't know the answer to that, but I will say
Okay.
that it goes back to what I said earlier, is you've got to do your homework. You can't take it
Yeah.
verbatim. This is giving you the ability to put information in front of you. And then listen, when you go down that volunteer listing where I get my top 3, I'm going to go
Hmm.
look at those. I'm going to then I put my mind to work. What are my, because listen, in technology, what's the first thing we got to do? Like another question I could ask is please prepare a RFP for a volunteer management system that I can use to go out to volunteer organizations, technology platforms, and let them fill out so that I can do a really good job at identifying them. This might help me choose the one I'm going to send it to, but then you're working into the core of what we do. This is the idea is to start the conversation and to take it for what it's worth. I mean, you got to do your extra step here. But I hope that
Okay.
kind of addressed that kind of area.
Yes. All right. So a lot of people are using the free version of ChatGPT. I saw in the questions. So they were just asking, very simply, with the paid version, number one, how much is it a month that you use? And number two, can you do images in the paid version?
Oh my God.
Attached files or only, I'm sorry, reverse that. Can you do images in the free version and attaching files in the free version, or is that only for paid?
No, that's only 4.0. 4.0 is where all the
Okay.
power is. 3.5 can give you a press release and
Yeah.
some of the stuff. When you get into, and I gotta say, create an image of a sports car driving into the sunset,
Yeah.
and I do that, and I didn't even spell it right. It's going to go ahead and it's already crafting the image. This is the crazy stuff, because then you can take this and you can modify it and modify it and modify it, and that's what makes it just nuts. So we can keep moving while this.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw some hard questions at you. Okay, let's
Okay.
have a real conversation about this
I'll
because
do my.
I do come from it as a bit of a skeptic.
Yep.
So I listened to a really good podcast yesterday about how ChatGPT, then Meta, and then Google, they pretty much went around the internet up until 2022 and illegally scraped everything they could get their hands on.
Yep.
Everything from books to
Yep.
YouTube videos, violating YouTube's terms of service. And if anyone effectively like sues them and says, you do not have the right to use my book and your chat GPT results, if one court of law says, they're going to have to start all over. So when I'm thinking about this image thing, like I'm a little worried about chat GPT being the only tool that we use because they've already proved that they're a little bit unethical in how they gained all this data and all this content. So what's an alternative to not use ChatGPT for everything? So 5 years from now, we just don't have one company controlling all AI content.
Great question. I'm going to first reference the strike that we just ended in Los Angeles. If you
Yes.
recall, one of the core aspects of that strike was exactly what you put on the table. Is can you imagine the voice of an actor being used in something that they did not authorize?
Yeah.
This is the kind of, and we're seeing it in political potential too. It's all over the place, and this
Yeah.
is the danger of the new frontier, right?
Mhm.
And so I can't answer the question on the end in terms of where we're going to be in 5 or 10 years. I've done a
Yeah.
lot of research and listening to Sam Altman. I think he's a brilliant individual, and he's the new Steve Jobs of our era in a lot of ways. I mean, some people might call him that, some might not, but he's groundbreaking
Yeah.
what he's doing, and he's skeptical. I mean, he's nervous, and if you recall what happened to him last year when he got ousted and then came back.
Yes.
It
Mhm.
happened because he started questioning, he started raising the questions, he started
Yeah.
posing the problems. And so, I mean, I'm not going to go into the details of that whole iteration of thing that occurred, but so it's still final frontier. We're still working it out. I
So
can't answer that question.
do you
Yep.
have a recommendation of like a video or photo creation tool that nonprofits can use? It's maybe low cost other than ChatGPT, so we don't have one tech company controlling all content creation.
I do, and it's called. I have it in the back of my head, and I'm blank on the name. But I'm going to do photo. What do you call it? Photo. Let's call it something. What do you want to call it?
Photos or videos, like photo generation, even
Well,
probably if you just.
video. I just did one recently,
Mhm.
and I can't remember the name. It was crazy. It was absolutely impeccable.
Yeah,
Video creation. It created this thing for a cause. I think
yeah.
I might even still have it somewhere. I didn't bring it on here, um, uh, but let's see if I can see it here. Video Leap. It starts with a U.
Okay.
Um, you know what, Heather? I will find it.
That's okay. Yeah, just put
And
it, if you can think about it, put it in the
yeah,
follow-up.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. But
So
you
then
can see here,
also,
you've got a bunch of them here that I could go
yeah,
into. Yep.
okay. I was just saying if, yeah, there's so many of, honestly, it's like overwhelming. Every day I'm getting an email like, here's a new AI video tool. Here's a new AI photo tool. I just wondered if you had one you
I want you to
recommended.
know that I watch TikTok all the time, and I bookmark. And TikTok knows me, and AI. I get AI stuff constantly
Uh,
with that. So I'm
Okay.
constantly getting new AI ideas from TikTok, and
Right.
I just went into TikTok, and I'm finding. So I'll probably find it before we finish here.
Mhm.
My this one. But go ahead, keep asking more questions if there
Okay.
are.
So then another one was I missed it because there were so many questions and I missed it, but I got the sense that did you upload like any donor data or an Excel spreadsheet
Yes,
okay.
I
So
uploaded
where
a fictitious donor spreadsheet that allowed me to analyze it. Yep.
okay, so what's the privacy issues of that? Does ChatGPT then have access to that? Like, do they save it on their servers? So like,
They don't save it, but that is a great question. You'll notice that I don't have access to it anymore at that one
uh,
iteration.
uh-huh.
So it times out. But it raises the question. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've not delved into that aspect of it, so I
Hmm.
can't answer that question 100%.
Okay.
But listen,
Well, that's
here's
where
the
we're
thing.
at. We're at the
No,
beginning, right?
absolutely. Yeah, but here's the thing. Um, uh, uh, it depends on what data you put in. I took out, I didn't put any address data in. I just put
Hmm.
in a name and their state. I didn't even have to put that in. I could have put just in their
Okay.
name and their giving amount, because I can go back to the database in my CRM to get to
I
every. I was
see.
just looking for an analysis based on what they gave before and
Hmm.
what the prediction is of what they're going to give now. So it depends on the data you put in, right?
Yeah. So when you were doing, I was really interested in the prompts that were like writing annual appeals and fundraising appeals and all that. And I think when that first came out, it was like everybody's like, "Wow, that's amazing!" And
Yes,
then
exactly.
now that we've been using it a while,
We're all
even Google has announced that they're starting to filter out content that's obviously been created by AI because, of course, criminals have just gone into chat gpt and been like, write me a blog post about this, and then they're flooding the internet with thousands of like AI generated, no editing, no nothing, just flooding. So Google kind of, they're like, oh wow, we didn't see that coming, so they're starting to filter out content that's written by AI in search results. So I'm assuming you recommend that people like use this as a guide, but definitely do not copy and paste as is.
No, no,
Yeah,
you never want to copy and paste. This is meant to
yeah,
inspire and I mean the work that I've used is based on the information I take, and it's scrutinized, it's put in front of a team of people. The team of
yeah.
people take the idea and it morphs and it goes where it goes. I mean, I just
Hmm.
finished a major event with Rotary, with
Hmm.
500 leaders all across New England. We came together for a convene of leaders. And we did a lot using ChatGPT to give us framework. But the core leadership development team that put this project together, were totally in control of what we were going to say, how we were going to say it, and what it was, and what was going to be the role of the storyboarding. And
Okay,
you
great.
cannot go verbatim on this.
Yeah,
But listen, there might be something you see that works and fits, and if you think it fits and you know everything there is factual, then there's nothing wrong in taking it, because it's also that writer block mentality from that
yeah,
notion. So,
exactly. Do you have to source ChatGPT? Like, do you have to like old school like credit? Like, we got this from ChatGPT. Somebody asked
oh,
that.
I imagine I've not sourced the stuff that I've done because it's more, uh, uh,
Hmm.
you know, uh, kind of promotional stuff. But if you're
Yeah.
in an educational environment, educational institutions need to know where it came from. Absolutely, I would definitely
Okay.
source that.
And
And
does Chat GPT-4, when it shows results, does it tell you where it got that from, or it's already so like blended and
You
AI
can
and gone?
you can ask it.
Oh, you
I haven't
can.
tried it recently, but you could
Oh,
ask it
that's
where,
interesting. That's
I mean, that's the
interesting.
whole thing. Yeah.
All right, so 4.0. All right, so my understanding again, as I listened on this podcast, it was up to late 2021, 2022 that ChatGPT and then Meta and then Google went around scraping the internet. And then something happened. I don't know what it was, but in 2022 it stopped. So a
Right.
number of people have asked, is 4.0, does it include content and machine learning of that content too? Do you know? I don't even know if you know this.
Yep.
from 2023 and 2024.
I believe it's now through September. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong. I need to check. I think it's through September of 23. It could
Okay,
be
so
later, but it's not any
like,
farther than that. I think I said in my thing, I thought it might be December. It might be September,
what,
but that's ChatGPT.
yeah,
Bing is different. Bing is farther in the future. So when
wow,
I want something really, really current, I go to Bing AI.
wow, great. I'll check out Bing AI.
Yeah, and I like Bing
You know,
AI a lot.
one thing they said in this podcast by the New York Times on the Daily, too, that I found so fascinating was that
Hmm.
by 2026,
Hmm.
all human content ever created in text, in the English language, at least by 2026, will be in ChatGPT. So at that point, by the year 2026, they run out. Like human content creation, real humans will not keep up with the pace that ChatGPT needs to constantly regenerate. So it's going to actually then use all that data to then build a new AI bot that will refigure all that to spit out a new, it's just crazy. It's mind boggling.
Great
It's
to
just,
hear, and great to hear. And what's crazy is that when you listen to Sam Altman and you watch him in his conversations, he's saying the exact same thing. And he's saying, you think about the time, as Mark Cuban talked, that it took us to go through, back in 2004 or even before in the 90s when networks were out, and the
yeah,
speed. Like I go back to my fax machine back in when I was in college, back in the 70s. That was the new hot thing, the fax
yeah.
machine. You see how quickly technology has moved. Well, now we're in minutes and seconds as opposed
Mhm.
to weeks and months. It's crazy. So
So
you're right. It's
what do you think about though? Like, so here's me, here's where my head is, right?
mhm.
And the big thing as somebody who like when I travel, I like to go to ancient cities. I like to read. The thing that I worry about AI is what about the death of art? What about the death of culture as created by humans? I mean, like, how do you think what how do you take that? Because I'm
Oh,
concerned about
well,
the death of
you're you're you're
human-centered
you're
art and culture.
you're hitting something that's really dear to my heart because you understand my church is the performing arts and the arts.
Yeah.
So I will always stand behind that area of the world, and you look at look at STEAM, not STEM but STEAM. The arts are integral to our future. It's never That's never going to go away, but that's education. That's how do we
Mm,
fulfill that? And I think
yeah.
my sense is it's not going to be impacted. I think that the unique thing is that we can get to art faster. I mean, I haven't done this, but
Hmm.
if I were to do a search on, give me all of the Van Gogh paintings and give me his top 10 from this period of time and the ones that are most popular and rank them by popularity.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting and bring the art and bring the and show me the art. Now
Yeah.
I don't know what will happen, but I bet if I do that, I'm now going to do this after we're done. It will probably bring that to the screen and give me the
Yeah.
ranking and do the analysis for me. And now I'm using it in a different way for the erudite who's interested in understanding, using his or her background in the arts to understand and get to things they want faster. Does,
Well,
does that
in
make sense?
your video at the beginning by Mark Cuban, where he said he thought it would lead to an increase in liberal arts
Yes,
education,
exactly.
because actually we're going to start to value perhaps even more human-centric content is what we're going to be calling
Exactly.
it, as opposed to. So I think
Exactly.
creatives actually could benefit from this in the long run.
Exactly.
What about multiple languages? Is there an
Uh,
AI French?
I, I have not tried, but I have to imagine it is. It's a global platform.
Okay,
I mean,
great.
I think you can pick the language.
All right, now I'm going to end with one last question,
Yeah. Okay.
which is again another kind of, I'm just not jumping in on this right away. I'm thinking about it. And,
Yeah.
AI, I'm thinking very carefully about it before I jump on the train and
Yeah.
advocate for it. So I think this question comes from another kind of cautious person, which
Yep.
she says, why should donors bother reading our content if we can't bother writing it?
Well, that's a purist, and thank you. I love that. My arms are around you.
Yes.
There's no question that that is a real true perspective. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's the antithesis of that. Um, uh, there are only so many hours in the day, and efficiency and speed to move your platform forward is always on the table. And so how do you do that? So you've got to draw the line. And
Yeah.
and I will tell you that, for any skeptic out there, I will leave you with this. Any skeptic out there, I'll go back to, and I believe this. In 10 years, we're all on the iPhone now, and look at Androids, and this has changed our lives in a positive and negative way. Um, but where are we going to be in 10 years if we're not on the bandwagon? We don't understand it, and we
Yeah.
can't use it to propel us forward. We need to be smart. We need to understand the technology. It doesn't mean you have to use it, but at some point you may find a eureka, I found it moment where you say, holy mackerel, now we're at
Yeah.
a place where I can use it. But if you're not there and you don't understand it and you don't have the background behind it, forget it. You're washed away. And,
Yeah.
and and from a competitive standpoint, and even in the nonprofit arts and entertainment and civ and general nonprofit marketplace, we have to think about our competitors. We are competing with each other for the discretionary dollar that can come back to us. And when
Mhm.
there's natural disasters, that impacts every one of us. Think about what we just went through with COVID. So we need to be smart. We need to listen. We need to be on cue and understand how technology can propel us forward. And I don't disagree with that questioner's mindset. I love what they said,
Mhm.
but we need to be open. And
Yeah.
so I urge every skeptic to go out there and find their pathway in, and don't be afraid of it. Find
Well, I
that.
think your focus on efficiency is really important, right? Like you don't have to do everything, but it
No.
helps you be more efficient. And again, it is important to stay on top of tech, to not fall behind. That's very important. I think you kind of gave me a little bit of my eureka moment here on this webinar, Robert. So I really appreciate that.
You betcha.
And that's it, everyone. We've gone over time. It has been recorded. It's going to take me maybe 3 to 4 hours to get the recording and the transcript ready. And
And I
then,
wanted to say hi to everyone so you can see my face.
perfect. All right.
So,
I'm not a camera person. So, hi, I'm waving at my camera that's not on. But thank you, Robert. I really appreciate it. And everyone, the recording and any resources, including your PowerPoint and any resources you wanted to link in that email, they'll go out within 48 hours.
and please
All
feel
right.
free to ping me, and I'd love to talk with you offline. Again, my QR code is there. You can set a session with me if you wish. So,
Okay. Awesome. Thanks so
thank
much,
you.
everyone.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.